All right, so this is the mic check. We'll be starting the program soon. All right, so this is the mic check. We'll be starting the program soon. Wow. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Hello. Today's little show is we're going to focus on Roman Catholic pervert popes, of which I have selected 2. And we're going to compare which is a worse pervert over the other. Which Roman Catholic Pope of the 2 that I have selected is the worse pervert over the other? But before I get to that, excuse me, before I get to that, I heard a rumor. In fact, I actually didn't hear a rumor. I'm lying there. I'm fibbing. What I say is that I saw this on the internet today. Look, I saw this. It says Sidney Winston, : quote, "The Christian God is not a brute fact. Prove me wrong," unquote. Well, okay. So considering that I am Sidney Winston, I can actually stand in for Sidney Winston because I am Sidney Winston. In case anybody would like to ask me how I know that I am me. Okay. Jokes aside, yeah, this is the room let me show you. There's the setup. Room's open. You can join anytime. I'm going to leave the links in the description. You can find them and join from there. When I'm ready. What am I talking about? Bullshit. Bullshit, man. I should just put those links in there right now. Who am I kidding? Who the hell am I kidding that I'm going to be able to actually direct this episode as I like? No. It's always the way you like. You. All right, there you go. Plop. Should be in the top. There you go. All right. So, as you know, I'm going to show you this is the front page here. Roman Catholic pervert popes. Okay, so looks like I've chosen Pope John the 12th, who was Pope from 955 of the Common Era to 964. Looks like he got about a 9-year run. That's John the 12th. So he's a pervert pope that I chose. And then the next one I chose was Pope Benedict the 9th as the second pervert pope. He has a very, very strange and checkered lineage in that he was elected pope 3 times. Once you have digested what these 2 popes did as representatives of the Catholic Church, you will understand much better why today there is such profligate sexual perversion amongst Catholic clergy. All right, so the first pope, you'll see on the right, on the left, is John the 12th. All right, let me cut to John the 12th. I'm just going to read the introduction, okay, before we run there's actually a video that I'd rather obviously run, but for the introduction, I'll introduce him this way. After the video, we might continue more along the Wikipedia to see if we can cross-check facts. So, Pope John the 12th. In Latin, it's Ioannes the Ixa Wana Wana. Okay, I don't know my Latin, obviously. So he was born approximately 930 or to 937, and he lived until 14th of May 964. All right, or remember, this is roughly 1,000 years after the mythology of Jesus Christ began. Now, he was born Octavian, was the Bishop of Rome and ruler of the Papal States from 16th of December 955 to his death in 964. He was related to the Counts of Tusculum, a powerful Roman family which had dominated papal politics for over half a century. He became pope in his late teenage years or early 20s. In 960, he clashed with the Lombards to the south. Unable to control Rome easily, he sought help from King Otto I of Germany and crowned him emperor, Holy Roman Emperor, I suspect. John the XII's pontificate became infamous for the alleged depravity and worldliness with which he conducted his office. He soon fell out with Otto, but died before Otto succeeded in his attempt to depose him. Right. Now that all sounds pretty damn nefarious to me. Oh, how about I put some light on this situation? There we go. So that's pretty nefarious if you're asking me. And what I'm going to do then is with the thanks to a YouTube channel for this one called Deep History. And this is what Deep History's video is going to show us about Pope John the 12th. This is in a form of this is one is in a form of 20 reasons why Pope John the 12th was the worst pope in history, but I'll let you decide against that Pope Benedict the 9th. Okay? So yeah, let's get rolling. Rolling.
Turning 18 is a big milestone in your life. Depending on where you live in the world, you can have sex, watch naughty films, drink, smoke, or drive a car. But despite being able to do grown-up things, you are not necessarily a grown-up, and the new opportunities bring with them some stupid mistakes, lifelong regrets, and some great stories. Those precocious people who run their own successful business by that age or are mature enough not to let the new and exciting pleasures go to their heads are very much the exception that proves the rule. Pope John the 12th was sadly not one of those people. Unfortunately for everyone else, he was not only Pope but the Prince of Rome at the age of 18. Far from taking his responsibilities seriously or getting advice from his elders and betters, John decided to use his new power to have a thoroughly brilliant time gambling, whoremongering, drinking, and hunting. He could more or less do anything he wanted, and that's exactly what he did. So read on to find out why John the 12th is remembered as simply the worst pope in nearly 2,000 years of the office. Number 20. He was born Octavian, the son of Alberic II of Spoleto and either his stepsister or one of his concubines. John's unusual childhood really paves the way for his short and outrageous career. Christened Octavian in circa 937, he was the son of Alberic II of Spoleto, the self-professed Prince of Rome. Alberic came to power when he defeated a vicious enemy, his own mother, the notorious Marozia, and his stepfather, King Hugh of Italy. Alberic too married his stepsister, Alda, who didn't seem to mind taking power in Rome at the expense of her poor old dad. The moderately incestuous couple had at least one son, Gregory I, Count of Tusculum, who went on to an illustrious political career. Alberic, at least, had one other son, Octavian. Whether this boy was born within their marriage is unclear, but according to Benedict of Soracte, a contemporary chronicler, young Octavian, who became John XII, was actually the son of Alberic and a concubine. Benedict may have been using the Latin concubinon to cast doubt on the sanctity and legitimacy of Alberic and Alda's marriage, but neither possibility is in Pope John's favor. Either he was the product of an incestuous marriage or of his father's infidelity with a prostitute. An unconventional beginning led to an unconventional life. Number 19. Octavian became Prince of Rome when his father died, and shortly afterwards was elected Pope John XII, aged just 18. On his deathbed, Alberic II's mind turned to the issue of his succession. He named his younger son, Octavian, his heir as Prince of Rome, which must have been exciting enough for the teenager. But Alberic's brother, John, had been Pope John XI before Alberic imprisoned him, and this gave the prince an idea that office would suit Octavian, who had hitherto shown absolutely no interest in religion, just swell. To keep all the city's power within his family, Alberic forced the leading Roman families and even the current pope, Agapitius II, to swear they would honor his last wish. The pope is the head of the Catholic Church, infallible, and answerable only to God. The office is thus carefully protected and couched in traditions. Alberic's final wish violated the decree of Symmachus from 499, which forbade agreements about a pope's successor in the current incumbent's lifetime, but Agapitius's own health was too weak to let him make even a squeak of disgruntlement. Octavian certainly wasn't going to quibble about his new job, and so he first became Prince of Rome and then Pope a few months later upon Agapitius's death, changing his name to John for some reason. Number 18. John once made a 10-year-old boy Bishop of Todi. The artist formerly known as Octavian soon got to work on making a pig's ear of things. He immediately waged wars against some fearsome Italian dukes occupying former papal lands, and was soundly defeated. If you think this was because he cared about the papacy, think again. Today's 18-year-old boys have Call of Duty to play with, whereas John had an actual army. He'd shown no interest in spiritual matters before becoming pope, and he certainly wasn't about to change his mind now just because he had a silly, pointy hat on his young head.
But that is so strange. He had no interest in spiritual things, but yet they appointed him as pope. So it sounds like it's, all in the family. If your grandfather was pope and somehow your uncle was pope and you have some kind of a line of succession to become pope, it's like it's like an Italian thing. How is it that something that was an Italian thing, let me just digress for a moment here. So how is it that an institution like the papacy of the Catholic Church was essentially a relic from the Roman Empire, but still under the control of Italian families? That makes sense, I guess, 1,000 years ago, or before the turn of the first millennium, as in this case, 960 or whatever. Not even 1,000. Okay, so literally, 800 years after the Jesus Christ mythology started to spread. So here we have 1,000 years before, you got the words of Christ, the red letter words, and that has now evolved into Orthodox Roman Catholicism, electing a non-spiritual enthusiast for a pope at 18 years old, at the head of not only an institution called the Roman Catholic Church, but as the head of a papal state. In other words, like today, like the Pope is the head of a state, right? This guy, this kid, 18, non-spiritual, was the head of a state, the papal state. I don't know if they called it anything else or what they called it yet. We'll get back to the Wikipedia article maybe later. But this seems to be an institution back in the year 1000 or 960 that is doomed to, devolve its way into the annals of history. How the hell it stuck around? I have no idea how it stuck around. I'll never, ever, ever. At least I hope to know, but I don't think I'll ever know how the Catholic Church managed to survive this Pope and the next one I'm going to bring through, and it survived the Black Plague, and the Catholic Church has survived the being the one institution that could have stopped the Holocaust, but didn't, and it survived that. Now, the Catholic Church is under scrutiny for its racism against First Nations communities here in Canada. How anyone can support the Catholic Church today, to me, it's not a mystery, man, because this world is full of really, really messed up people. But you got to be some messed up to accept the Catholic Church as something less than evil, because the Catholic Church is evil. History shows that the Catholic Church is evil. Even today, the Catholic Church is evil. It's anti-sanitation. It's anti-healthcare. It promotes promiscuity. It promotes teen pregnancy. It pretends to be something, and it is totally the opposite of what it pretends to be. That's the Catholic Church. Okay, thank you for listening to my rant. I don't even think I meant to do that rant, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
John's avowed interests were drinking, fornicating, hunting, and gambling. In fact, his contempt for the papacy was such that he once named a 10-year-old boy Bishop of Todi. Life expectancy was shorter in the early Middle Ages, but even amongst the peasant class, a 10-year-old was still a child. So why on earth did he ordain the young tyke? Simple: money. The boy in question was the son of a well-to-do family, who flung a few purses of gold John's way, and he was happy to oblige. And John was Pope, so no one could argue. Number 17. He once ordained a deacon in a stable. According to his former employees in the Lateran Council, John was always accepting cash for offices, which he needed to buy booze, gamble, and hire prostitutes. But an even worse offense than ordaining a 10-year-old boy was his decision to ordain a deacon in his stable of horses. As far as we can tell, the Bishop of Todi was made a bishop in a church with all due pomp and ceremony. His proud parents would have demanded nothing less, given how much they had to pay for the office, but a horse's stable really was the lowest ebb. There was nothing sacred about the stables John chose for the ceremony. Ordaining a deacon outside of a church undermined the whole point of churches as a sacred space and the house of God himself. Besides, one of John's main failings as Pope was his obsession with hunting, and the incident presents his priorities in microcosm.
Okay, so you got a Pope who's more interested in hunting than poping.
The medieval church fought unsuccessfully against hunting, which it saw as an idle pastime which encouraged sin and wasted time.
All right, so the Catholic Church saw hunting as an idle pastime. I don't support hunting myself, but it's unsuccessful in stopping the hunting.
Which could have been spent praying. John.
Yes, you could have spent the time when you were hunting, you could have spent it praying. And if you had done that, no harm would have been done to any animal, which would have been killed for nothing other than for your sport. Disgusting. Especially for somebody who wears the mantle of the divine representative, or the representative of the divine. I don't know how it works, but the Pope is supposed to be like the next thing to God. The Pope is God, the Pope, then Jesus, then everybody else. Something like that.
Didn't care what they thought, and brazenly performed the sacrilegious ceremony in front of high-ranking Catholic priests. Number 16. A subdeacon once called him immature, so John had him castrated and then executed to prove him wrong.
Oh, lovely!
As you might expect, John's complete unsuitability for the job of Pope raised a fair few eyebrows.
Not bad.
We've barely scratched the surface with his misdemeanors, but it should be already unsurprising to learn that a few people took it upon themselves to remind John of the importance of his office. A subdeacon, also called John, once told him to abandon his boyish pursuits, ask for forgiveness, and concentrate on running the Catholic Church. A subdeacon is many rungs below a pope in the Catholic hierarchy, but John's reaction was unprecedented. To teach the insubordinate little twerp a lesson, John first castrated him and then killed him for good measure. That proved him wrong. As Pope, John also had his own confessor, a rare privilege before confession became mandatory for all Catholics in 1215. John was expected to admit his sins, beg forgiveness, and accept a penance to atone for them. Having to do so didn't sit well with a man as keen on flexing his power muscles as John. One day, he got sick of his confessor nagging him, and blinded him as a punishment.
Ooh!
The man died of his injuries.
No kidding.
Number 15. John slept with his own niece and sisters. Taking a leaf out of his father's, and possibly mother's, book, John's sexual appetites were so great he didn't even stop at his own family.
This is the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, ladies and gentlemen. Your friend on the internet, Canadian Catholic, is a member of this fraternity, paternity, maternity, sisternity, whatever the fuck it is. And it's disgusting. Canadian Catholic, you really should be. You should really do some introspection, my friend. Yeah.
As Pope, remember, he could do whatever he wanted without getting into trouble, at least until God came calling, but he could worry about that later. Thus it was that John grew tired of having any woman he wanted, and decided to sleep with those who were forbidden to him by all conventional standards, his own niece and sisters.
See, he's Pope. He doesn't answer to anyone but the imaginary God, so I'll do it in the like. He understands that God is imaginary, and he understands that you guys won't you won't say a peep about what he does because of this some kind of this, because this perceived divine connection that the people have, that everybody under him. It's the most undemocratic thing. It's undemocratic. It's the most undemocratic exercise of of total power that I've ever seen, and it comes from the Catholic Church.
Their precise degree of relation to him is lost, not that there can be any mitigation.
Wow.
But maybe there could be. This particular crime of incest was included in an extensive list of grievances against his misdemeanors compiled by John's many enemies, and may have been exaggerated or the product of rumor and gossip. Repeating the sins of his own father has a biblical ring to it. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children. Exodus 25. The charge, true or not, also provided a handy moral lesson for everyone about the foolishness of nepotism, which gave the church such a rubbish pope. Number 14. Pope John would ask for help from pagan gods when gambling and toasted the devil when drinking. One of John's greatest vices was gambling. To fund this particularly expensive habit, he would not only sell offices, as to the Bishop of Todi, but pinch the money donated by pious Christians or simply raid the Vatican's massive treasure chest.
Wow.
Gambling is a sinful enough pastime for a man of the cloth, let alone the Pope, especially when funded through theft and corruption. But the cherry on the top of a particularly rotten cake was John's habit of asking Jupiter and Venus to bring him luck, rather than the Holy Trinity or a saint. Did the Pope even believe in God? Well, it's certainly clear he didn't care about Catholic theology.
I think I think somehow or other, you guys who still support the Roman Catholic Church are being taken for a big ride. You are suckers. You gullible. Your money is being used. The money that you sent to the Catholic Church is being used nefariously, malevolently. There is no charity involved. You are complicit in all the crimes of the Catholic Church if you support the Catholic Church. So it's time to end the reign of the Catholic Church. Certainly, can you believe it, that the Catholic Church is based in Rome, and the Catholic Church conducts worldwide control of all Catholic churches from this one central office in the Vatican and this one guy, the Pope. It's incredible. That isn't. It's almost like they're violating antitrust laws, but doing that. That kind of power is unprecedented. It's incredible, but also that kind of power is finite, because it's we the people who give them that kind of power to to hold on to and to propagate their institutions worldwide. So I think it's time that the Catholic Church, honestly, is outed, not just by me, because no one's going to listen, but by people who have a standing, a reputation, or have name recognition in the mainstream. These are the people who should speak out against the Catholic Church and insist that the Catholic Church be decentralized or just deinstitutionalized, anything you like, just to get rid of it. Oh my God, it's got to be gotten rid of. It should have the same power as the Queen of England has, which is no power. It's ridiculous that the head of state of a Vatican state of the Vatican state has powers beyond the borders of his state. That is it's got to be against international law. We have to investigate this. But I digress too much.
For he went one better or worse than asking pagan gods for help when out drinking, for he would habitually lead others in a toast to none other than the greatest enemy of God, Satan. Whilst most medieval people lived in fear of eternal damnation and Satan's many-pronged pitchfork, John couldn't care less. Most embarrassing of all to the church, and especially those who elected him, was his habit of hailing Lucifer in public, setting a terrible example to his flock. Number 13. Under John's papacy, the Vatican Palace was turned into a brothel. The problem with papal infallibility, as we have seen, is that the Pope is given license to do whatever they want. This is not such a problem when a responsible man is elected, or today when the papacy has, at best, an advisory role in world affairs. But in John's day, the privilege was open to abuse from unscrupulous popes, who wielded both spiritual and martial power to silence naysayers. There really was little anyone could do about John's awful behavior. He even turned the Vatican Palace into a brothel, and no one could stop him. Palaces, by nature grand and extremely big, are built to
a brothel. You know that house where the Pope lives? The Pope, the head of the Catholic Church? The divinely chosen by God himself? And who answers only to God? No one else? Well, you know what he did? Pope John, he just kind of opened up a brothel in his popely palace. So if you want to go for a cheap boink, head over to church. For the cost of a tithe, you can get laid. I wonder if that's like that. Is this the same in the Catholic Church these days now? I wonder. What am I doing on Sunday?
To entertain vast numbers of people on important missions. In the hands of rulers like John, however, the many rooms built to house diplomats and world leaders proved just as useful for housing concubines. Rather than walk the streets of Rome to find a becoming prostitute, John instead invited
Rather than walk the streets of Rome to find a becoming prostitute. What did he do instead of walking the streets of Rome to find a becoming prostitute? I can't wait to find out.
Stated number to live in his own home. His raucous friends from the gambling dens, hunting parties, and taverns could be entertained simultaneously in what must be history's grandest whorehouse. At least this kept his activities relatively private.
Yes.
Number 12.
As you do.
Under John's reign, Rome fell into ruins, partly through his own doing. Being so busy with his favorite immoral pastimes meant that John didn't have all that much time to attend to spiritual matters. The cost of drinking, hiring prostitutes, gambling, and hunting also had a very visible manifestation.
Yes, it would.
For the money John pilfered from the Vatican stores and private donations was supposed to be spent on the upkeep of Rome's ancient churches and monasteries.
But
with no money forthcoming for essential repairs, these ecclesiastical buildings simply fell into ruin or were abandoned altogether. No doubt John noticed on his pleasure-seeking trips around Rome, he just didn't care.
All gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong.
Rome fell into a state of dilapidation through John's negligence. But his responsibility for the rundown look of the city he was meant to protect as Pope and Prince of Rome didn't end there, for many later swore that John was a pyromaniac who delighted in burning buildings to the ground. There's no mention of churches being burned, perhaps even John wasn't that carefree, but the smoke and flames from the edifices he did burn certainly wouldn't have helped nearby damaged places of worship. But no matter, John was having a great time, even if no one else was. Number 11. John would rape women who came to pray at St. Peter's, explaining that only God knows why he did so.
Excuse me? Did I hear that correctly? John. No, this is not just any old John. My friends, this is John the Pope. In fact, it's Pope John the 12th. Now, Pope John the 12th, as you do, he would rape women who came to pray at St. Peter's, explaining that only God knows why he did so. I can't explain why I, Pope John the 12th, rape women who come to pray at St. Peter's, because only God knows. That's kind of the way Catholicism still seems to ring today, unfortunately. Very unfortunately.
When entering a church, the last thing on most people's minds is sex or violence. After all, sacred places have been places of sanctuary even for hardened criminals since ancient Greece. But for a while in 10th century Rome, worshippers had to be careful when entering St. Peter's, for lurking behind the pillars was the Pope himself, ready to pounce on anyone who took his fancy and to take them by force if necessary.
That's disgusting.
Unsurprisingly, people learned to be wary of entering St. Peter's under John's rule, and this proved not merely a moral but an economic outrage. For quite apart from the indisputable immorality of rape, as far as the Lateran Council were concerned, John's behavior began putting people off praying and...
Okay, so rape is part of the papal behavior in 960, and nobody can do anything about it. And unfortunately today the Catholic Church has exactly that same kind of power. They should be ashamed of themselves. Honestly, I spit on the Catholic Church.
Leaving donations. Most alarmingly,
that was my
the
donation.
lucrative trade in pilgrims from the rest of Europe began to tail off. Only the wealthiest people could afford to go on pilgrimage to Rome, and would give generously to the church as well as availing themselves of the services and accommodation on offer in the city. John scared off these would-be donors and potentially important political allies, explaining only God knows why he behaved as he did. Number 10. The Pope was also fond of men, and sometimes ordered them to be procured for him. It wasn't just women.
Okay, Canadian Catholic. Now we understand your attraction to the Roman Catholic Church a little bit better. Let's listen into this one. Canadian Catholic.
Who were in danger around John. The issue of homosexuality remains a hot potato for the modern Catholic Church, and despite a recent softening under Pope Francis, many Catholics still see it as an abomination. So you can only imagine how anti-gay the 10th century church was, and how shocked it would have been to learn that Pope John XII, its head, was partial to young men hung like a mule. Indeed, he also housed male concubines in the Vatican Palace to cater for...
Oh, male concubines! To cater for what? Who?
all of his desires, and was...
Oh, male concubines for the Pope himself. I see.
accused of hosting homosexual orgies. When he decided that he needed a new lover, or his stock of male concubines had got sick of him and sneaked off, John would send his servants out to track down men meeting his aforesaid criteria. As with most of the accusations leveled at John, it's hard to determine how much of the story...
Hey, Canadian Catholic, how tall are you? How tall are you, Canadian Catholic, huh? Huh? You're a pig.
story about his activities with other men are true. After all, being accused of homosexuality was one of the worst insults you could receive in his day. Historians have suggested, alternatively, that John modeled himself on Roman emperors, many of whom were known to be bisexual. Number 9. John once seduced a widow by giving her control of several Italian cities.
This is incredible. Listen to this one.
Although John was content and able to throw his weight around with all and sundry, he seems to have met his match with one particular conquest. For although he could take his pick of most of the men and women of Rome, and was able to rape churchgoers with impunity, some people were just too powerful and conspicuous to be subjected to his wanton desires. He is known to have slept with 2 widows, at least according to the charges read against him, but one of these women was only seduced at a great cost. Noting his astonishing sexual appetite and megalomania, one of the widows managed to turn John's persistent advances to her advantage. As the widow of a powerful aristocrat, the woman was much in demand and held considerable influence and power of her own, and hence the Pope's usual tactics wouldn't work. Thus she was able to reject John until he gave her control of several Italian cities, without asking their permission, and the drooling Pope was happy to oblige in order to get in her pants. This particular charge rings true with the countless other accusations of simony and paying for sex. Number 8. Smelling weakness and dissent, King Berengar II of Italy invaded the Papal States in 960 AD. Events in the Holy City didn't go unnoticed. News of John's unpopularity and proven military incompetence soon reached the ears of King Berengar II of Italy, who was soon meditating an invasion. After all, Rome had been under the rule of one of Berengar's predecessors as King of Italy, Hugh, stepfather to Alberic II, not all that long ago. Berengar had actually stolen the Italian crown from Hugh, but no matter, this just proved his experience in toppling unpopular leaders. He began his campaign by attacking the poorly garrisoned Papal States and letting John's many enemies know of his plans. Berengar was a terrifying prospect for John, who would have been about 23 at the time of the invasion in 960. Having toppled Hugh as King of Italy, Berengar had bullied his son and successor, Lothair, until the latter died, mysteriously, of poisoning. He then kidnapped Lothair's aristocratic widow, Adelaide,
Sidney,
and tried
can you
to
hear me?
force her to marry him. She was only saved by a timely invasion from Otto the Great, King of Germany, who married the lady himself. Berengar had made a powerful enemy, and it was thus to Otto that John went pleading for help. Number 7. John had to ask for help from Otto, who defeated Berengar in exchange for being named Holy Roman Emperor. Otto the Great had already proved himself a formidable warrior long before Berengar made an unwelcome incursion into his life in the 950s. He successfully conquered Bohemia, beat France in battle, and generally expanded his mighty kingdom, rescuing Adelaide and marrying her maid
Sidney,
Berengar,
can you hear
his
me?
vassal, which
Yeah. Turn your
Okay.
turn your YouTube off.
Sidney, can you hear me?
Yes, turn your YouTube off. Thank you. That is much better. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, welcome, welcome, Iron.
No, continue with your review. I wanna watch that. It's actually pretty good.
Okay, you'll watch it on YouTube. All right, I'm gonna mute.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
good.
looks really interesting.
It is very interesting. So I'm gonna mute us here. Okay, you watch it on YouTube.
the latter greatly resented. Thus John's appeal for help from Otto was tantamount to telling a teacher on a naughty boy. But Otto wasn't going to waste time he could be spending on conquering other nations on the snotty young pope for nothing. He first demanded to be made Holy Roman Emperor. John had no choice but to agree. On February 2, 962, Otto became the first Holy Roman Emperor in over 25 years, and made John sign a treaty limiting his papal power. Many of John's subjects, resentful about Germany's part in ending the original Roman Empire in the 5th century, were unhappy to see yet another German become Holy Roman Emperor, but John didn't care. Otto fulfilled his side of the bargain by soundly defeating Berengar in battle, many of whose troops abandoned their king in fear of the German giant they remembered from the 950s. Number 6. As soon as Otto left Rome, John responded by forming an alliance against the new Holy Roman Emperor. John immediately regretted relinquishing power to Otto in 962. He'd been after an ally, not a master, and felt that Otto had abused his power in exacting the title and treaty. Worst of all for John, Otto was exactly the sort of person he hated, pious, honorable, and moreover not scared of him. Otto in turn disliked the iniquitous John, but was willing to give him a chance. At a synod in 962, Otto demanded that John change his ways, and then proceeded to treat him like a pope and discussed boring issues about the church in Germany. Thus the enraged John set about plotting Otto's downfall as soon as he left Rome to fight Berengar. He sent letters and envoys to Otto's sworn enemies, the Magyars, and even his own son, Adalbert, contriving to get rid of the troublesome, though currently useful, king. This proved a big mistake. Unfortunately for John, his beleaguered religious staff had finally found someone brave enough to stand up to their dreadful boss, and duly sent messengers to tell Otto what the man against whose enemies he was currently risking his life had done. Oh. Number 5. Otto was unsurprisingly livid, and John took the papal treasure and went to hunt in Tivoli rather than face the German army. To say Otto was displeased would be history's greatest understatement. Poor Otto had given the useless and sinful head of the church to which he was so devoted a second chance, against all conventional wisdom, and had been burned. He was also risking his own life to defeat John's sworn enemy on the battlefield, and frankly had better things to do. As soon as he dealt with Berengar and a few other troubling domestic issues, Otto returned to Rome with his great army in November 963, licking his lips at the thought of bringing this treacherous young oit to justice. When you're marching with thousands of soldiers and horses across a foreign country, it's hard to remain inconspicuous. Thus word soon reached Rome that Otto was on the warpath once more, and John took the hint, legging it from the Vatican to Tivoli. He may have been hiding in fear of his life, but John wasn't about to let that ruin his fun. Instead, he took his mind off things by spending a long time hunting, having made off with the entire papal treasure to pay for all his many holiday expenses. He was safe. For the time being. Number 4. John's Lateran Council were delighted when Otto demanded they find a new pope, since he never celebrated Mass properly and was an all-round bad egg. Though his quarry had eluded him, Otto wouldn't head home empty-handed. He called an unofficial synod as soon as he arrived, in which the many crimes of John would finally be examined. John was summoned 3 times, but refused to cut short his hunting expedition. In his absence, Otto presided over the meeting, which is why it's still seen by some church historians as an unofficial synod. But if John had been there, we might never have found out the details of his colorful life, for the witnesses certainly didn't hold back in their testimony. Snarling with rage, Otto heard the charges against John elaborated in excruciating detail. John's own cardinals explained how he never took communion before celebrating Mass, incredibly sacrilegious, didn't observe canonical hours, and had committed the offenses we've already seen above. In sum, reliable witnesses swore that young John was a murderer, gambler, whoremonger, idolater, adulterer, and arsonist, also guilty of incest. In his absence, he was deposed on December 4, 963, and the Lateran Council consecrated one of its own members, the much better qualified Leo, Pope on the same day. But John wasn't finished yet. Number 3. John responded to being summoned by threatening to excommunicate everyone at the synod, and started a riot by offering a bounty for Otto's head. John's reaction to the summons was typically measured and proportionate. He wrote back to his Lateran Council to inform them he would not be attending, thundering that the synod was illegal and threatening to excommunicate everyone present. And then he put down his quill, we know it was his quill as the letter's Latin grammar is absolutely terrible, jumped on his horse, and went off hunting again. But he also found time to have a bit of a think about the future, and decided to offer a huge sum of money in exchange for Otto's head on a plate. Otto, as a German, was very unpopular in Rome, and people were so desperate to collect the bounty on his head that a riot was soon underway. Otto quashed the rebellion with brute strength, making him even more unpopular. Poor old Leo was also widely despised just because Otto had backed him as pope, and was left on very shaky ground in the aftermath. It says something of John's ridiculous character that he didn't simply do a bolter with the Vatican wealth and settle in a neutral land, but instead decided to fight the older, wiser, and much more powerful Otto. Number 2. As soon as Otto left, John returned to Rome, mutilating his opponents and ousting his replacement, Pope Leo VIII. Instead of taking the more sensible course, John made preparations to return to Rome. Otto left the city shortly after the riot on January 4, 964, leaving Pope Leo cowering in the Vatican palace, presumably now free of prostitutes. John was back in Rome by mid-January, and incredibly, despite his terrible reign as pope up to that date, the locals decided they liked him better than Otto and Leo. With tumultuous Romans hot on his tail, Leo fled to Otto's court. John now took vengeance on those who denounced him the previous December, torturing and hacking them to death. Otto's reactions hitherto are uncertain, but he can't have been happy. But what really made his blood boil was a synod held on February 26, 964. Here John excommunicated Pope Leo and, most foolishly, overruled the acts of the synod that Otto had presided over when he was given the sack and deemed it illegal. Unable to tolerate this fresh attack on his authority by the troublesome priest, Otto marched with his army on Rome, this time no doubt dreaming of having John flayed alive. John took the hint and went to hide out in Campania that April. Number 1. Thankfully, only a few months later he was fatally injured by another man after being caught in bed with his wife. As well as keeping a low profile, John tried one last gamble. He sent Ottgar, Bishop of Speyer, a member of Otto's beloved German church, to broker an agreement with the king. But before Ottgar managed to catch up with the Holy Roman Emperor, John was dead anyway. All sources agree that he was in bed with a married woman when his 9 years of stupidity and incompetence ended. Death came either in the form of a blow from the woman's irate husband or simply a stroke, either the hand of a man or the hand of God, in other words. One can only imagine what would have happened to John if Otto had got his massive hands on him. Given his strong Catholic faith, it's unlikely Otto would have had the Pope executed, for he was content to sack John rather than arrested and slain after the Synod of 963. Nonetheless, medieval prisons were notoriously unhygienic, and so perhaps Otto would have chucked him in one and let him contract dysentery.
Oh,
But it's here our
nice.
story ends. Pope John went out doing what he loved best, and has proved a headache for defenders of papal infallibility ever since.
Mhm. So there you go. That was Pope John the 12th. Hello, Iron. You could turn on your mic.
Yeah, give me a second. You okay?
Sure.
Yeah. I was reading about St. Peter right now.
Oh, what'd you learn?
Did you know the history of St. Peter?
No.
It is messed up.
Tell me.
Do you know why he was crucified? He crucified upside down?
Well, I heard that story. Somebody was
Okay.
crucified upside down because they didn't want to be crucified the same way up as Jesus or something like that. Silly,
That's right.
silly,
Yeah, because
stupid bullshit.
he thought he wasn't worthy as being crucified the same manner as Jesus.
Yeah, it's worse being crucified upside down, so I don't get it.
Right. But this is the weird thing about Peter is that, did you know he had a relationship, not a relationship, but he had some kind of connection with a person called Simon Magus?
Yes. Simon Magus is the person that simony. The simony is if you sell a church roll or a church event, church relics. You know, if you sell something from the church to someone for money, that is simony.
Well, no, this is the weird thing, because Simon Magus was
Yes.
classified as a magician, a conjurer,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He was a trained magician.
Okay.
So Saint Peter challenged this Simon Magus to a contest, like a miracle contest.
Oh, is that right? And
Yeah. So as I'm reading here, and that's the first record of the tradition that Saint Peter was crucified. Well, okay, let's go to Simon. What does it say that Simon Magus? So what happened is that he basically claimed because of he had the Holy Spirit in him
yeah.
that he could overcome these so-called magicians, these Simon Maguses of the world.
Mm.
Therefore, Christ's power is more powerful than the magicians. Right? So I mean, like this is Jesus Christ you're talking about. Jesus Christ's power is multitudes more powerful than any magician in the world, right?
No, unfortunately, that's not a
No,
confirmed claim.
Sidney, but this is what Christians are saying, right?
Yeah, well, fuck what Christians say because they're wrong.
No, but Jesus is omnipotent. He's all powerful.
That's what Christians say, but they're wrong.
So I'm saying with this text, with this thing that went on with Simon Magus, right? Simon Magus was just a normal human being performing human tricks, illusions, and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Peter comes along and he uses the power of Jesus or whatever, the Holy Spirit, to prove that his magic is more powerful than Simon Magus, right?
I don't know. I don't know the full story of Simon Magus other than that Simony is named after him.
Yeah, well that's the story. So basically, one of the reasons why Christianity became so powerful is because that Peter claimed to have these magical powers brought on by the Holy Spirit through Jesus Christ over evil. So he regarded Simon Magus as an evil spirit, right?
Okay.
So this is where this mythology comes from. It comes from these so-called apostles of Christ going about claiming that they have the Holy Spirit in them, and then overcoming evil in the world. Right? That's the doctrine. Right?
I have no idea.
That's basically the doctrine of Christianity.
The doctrine of Christianity is if you're Pope, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Oh my God!
There's no one to answer to other than a God.
Well, it is one of the doctrines of Christianity to overcome the evils in the world.
I don't know.
Oh my God, Sidney!
What are you talking about? Why should I know Christian doctrine?
Why do people believe in Trump today?
Because he's at least he exists. Jesus didn't.
No, because the people in the southern United States, believe that Trump can overcome the evils of the world.
Certainly he can, but at least he exists.
They regard Trump as a fucking revelation person.
Fine, maybe he is. The thing is that he exists, and he might do what you just projected, but he might not, which leaves us to in exactly the same position we are now, no better off, no worse off.
Yeah.
So if he does do something that leaves a legacy of harmony and tolerance, then we're gonna have to look to Trump as the savior of mankind and not the mythological Jesus.
But I'm saying that this is what these people are looking for. These evangelical Jesus believing people, they're looking for some kind of savior.
Oh, well,
right?
For 10% of their annual income every year, I'll be the savior.
And they thought it would be Trump, and they were wrong.
Oh, like a savior is actually going to do something? Well, in that case, you might as well stick with the old guy. He did nothing.
Which old guy? What are you talking about?
Jesus. The savior, remember? The guy the savior doesn't save, or didn't save, and cannot save, and will not save.
Do you know what Jesus
saves.
Do you know what Jesus Christ actually means?
It means I am the Christ.
No,
Je suis Christ, like in
no,
French.
no,
No?
no.
Ah.
It means savior, savior.
Well, that's kind of repetitious.
Well, it's redundant.
Yeah.
So you have the Jesus, Yeshua, which means savior, and then you have the Greek Christ, which means savior. So if you look at the name,
Oh, really?
if you
How do
look
you
at the
know that
word,
both mean savior?
well, look at the word Christ
Where
in
am I going to look
Greek.
at the word Christ? I'm looking at, I'll type it in a text editor and then I'll look at it. Then what I'm going to do?
Look at the word Christos in Greek. What does that mean?
What do I know about Greek?
The Greek means
But dude. Jesus Christ is a myth. Jesus is a myth.
I know,
So
Sidney, but
whatever it
I'm
says
trying.
anywhere about Jesus Christ it's fiction. So yeah, okay,
I'm
it's
trying to
fiction.
explain to you why he is a myth.
He's real fiction. That's why.
I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Don't be
Oh,
so
you're trying to explain
defensive.
to me that Jesus Christ is real fiction. Oh, carry on, please.
But how do you know that Jesus is a myth?
Because he didn't exist, if other than in
How do you
mythology
how
and
do you know that?
folklore.
How do you know that,
Because
Sidney?
there's no historical evidence, my friend. That's
So
why.
what do you think about Bart Ehrman?
What do I think about him?
Yeah,
I think that he is a showman.
he's a what?
A showman.
He's a showman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
He's a
he's not a
performer. He's a performance artist.
wait. But he's not a theist.
He's still a performance artist. You didn't ask me if you asked me
He's,
what I thought of him, and I
I think
think
he's
he's a
either
performance artist. What's wrong
I
with
think
that?
he's either agnostic or atheist, right?
He's a performance artist.
But he is saying that the most likely there was a person that represented the qualities that Jesus had, and that they attributed these things to this person. So Richard Carey also agrees to kind of wrote Barteram, saying that this person was euhemerized. Euhemerization means that they're assigning certain divinic qualities to this person, just like they did to Romulus in Rome, just like they did to Julius Caesar. They regarded these people as gods, right? So this is what Bart Ehrman is saying. Bart Ehrman is saying that Jesus was an actual person, but
No, he couldn't have
the
been an
Jews
actual
regarded him
person.
as
He couldn't have been an actual person because that means that he walked on water and he healed the dead and he brought dead people back to life, and he didn't do that, so he couldn't have been a real person. You get it?
yeah. But you're talking about the mythology of Jesus, Sidney. I'm talking. Bart Ehrman disregards the mythology of Jesus. He disregards the miracles of Jesus. He does not think that he did any miracles at all. He's just saying that there was a person in that period of time that exemplified the qualities of a good person,
That's impossible.
like a
No,
regular man,
that makes no
right?
sense. That makes no sense.
So this is
Because
what
if
he's
he
saying.
exists, if he exists, then he walks on water, performs miracle, heals the sick, and resurrects the dead.
Well, that's exactly why Bart Ehrman isn't as an agnostic or atheist, because he does
Then he
not
does.
believe in
So he doesn't
miracles.
exist.
No, he does not believe in miracles. But he's saying that there was a human being, but that probably went by the name of Jesus, Jesus of something, either Jesus of Gamala
Probably,
or
but
Jesus of.
you just said probably, maybe if. Well, that's not
Because
conclusive evidence. Sorry, man.
no, but because he's saying that Jesus was an actual person, but he was euhemerized with scripture, or Josephus, or actually Josephus. No, don't forget Josephus, because that's a forgery. He
Well,
was euhemerized by.
I want to say that I've got something here. Just
in this book, and did Jesus?
okay. Listen to this. This is Bart Ehrman's best argument, and I'm going to throw it up on this on the YouTube. Okay, so watch it on YouTube.
Okay, but do you agree that Bart Ehrman is a historicist, not a mythicist, right?
He's he is a
He's a historicist, which means that he
he's
believes
a
that
no
Jesus.
he's a historian. That's what he
No,
is.
he's a historicist, which means that he believes that a person named Jesus existed in history.
Well, let me show you. Okay, I'm going
Okay.
to show everybody here on the screen and watching
Fine. Go ahead.
why Bart Ehrman's best evidence for Jesus existing. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just fix something here. Right, Bart Ehrman's best evidence for the existence of Jesus. Here it is.
Did Jesus exist? I actually go into what we can actually say about him. I mean, for one thing, just speaking about the Apostle Paul, no, in an offhand comment, Paul tells us
there's no
that
audio.
he knows Jesus' brother, James.
Dude, are you don't like to listen to what I say?
There's no audio, Sidney, on the website.
There's no audio on the website. Oh, I know.
Turn the audio on. Turn the audio on.
How can there be no audio on the website?
There's no audio on YouTube.
That's impossible.
Okay, wait. Okay, play it. Play it. There's no audio on YouTube. Okay, play it, Sidney.
All right. I'll play it.
And in this book, Did Jesus Exist? I actually go into what we can actually say about him. I mean, for one thing, just speaking about the Apostle Paul, no, in an offhand comment, Paul tells us that he knows Jesus' brother, James, and he knows Jesus' closest disciple, Peter. He actually spent time with these people. And so it's quite obvious that Jesus existed. I mean, he had a brother that Paul knew. So, yeah. Anyway,
but the argument being that
Yeah, that's not his best argument. Because look at because not his best argument. No. Well, go to Myth Vision. Sorry, my bad. Is that from Myth Vision? Go to Myth Vision.
Oh, you won't be able to hear me because I am muted. Yes, this would explain that. But now I can't explain why I am not in my chat room anymore. There must be a reason. There's a reason, and I will find it. The chat room didn't like what Iron Charioteer was saying. He didn't agree, so he kicked us both out. Well, that sucks, didn't it? Yeah, that's okay. Iron Charioteer, I'm getting us back into the room. Let's see. It's probably going to turn on my video camera, so you won't need this one, I guess. There we go. There's join the room. Everybody can join. Admit everybody. There we go. Okay.
Okay, hey. You guys there?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
So,
I
can you
thought,
hear me?
I thought
Yeah.
you kicked me. What happened?
I don't know. The room stopped.
Yeah.
Are you running out of time or something?
I don't know. I have a subscription, so I don't quite understand why it stopped. But it did say I ran out of time. Anyway, I'll look into that.
Okay, there's something going. Can you hear me?
Yes, Bill, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Okay,
How you doing, Bill?
I'll shut up then.
Ah.
This is the Bumbling Bumbler show. That's what it is.
I'm the chief bumbling bumbler.
The Sidney Winston Tech Bumblers.
Who's bumbling?
We're bumbling back and forth.
I want to tell you something. I watch a lot of shows and live streams, and I'm not the only one who bumbles. Everybody, what? I'm what?
Your
Say.
bumbles are always grand, though. When you do it well.
Bill, I want to ask you a question quickly. Are you a Jesus mythicist or a historicist?
Yeah. Well, most myths, just like myths don't have any fact in them. Like Aesop's, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible someone lived and had that. You know, there was some crazy rabbi back then.
There were lots of them.
Okay, so
the thing is, there were lots
so
of
that
them.
means you are historicist.
When it comes to the the personage of Jesus.
Yes.
If that was his name.
Right. So you agree with Bart Ehrman?
I missed that. What did Bart Ehrman say?
I played Bart Ehrman's best argument was, of course Jesus existed because Paul knew Jesus' brother. Obviously Jesus existed. And this guy here says, no, Bart Ehrman didn't say that, even though I just played a clip of Bart Ehrman saying that.
I did not say that.
Yes, you did.
I did not say that.
You said go to MythVision to listen to Bart Ehrman. Don't listen to Bart Ehrman from anywhere else other than MythVision.
I said
that is a weird thing to say, dude.
No. I said that's not the only reason why Bart Ehrman rejects mythicism. There's other reasons why as well. That was just one reason.
I told you that the only reason that Bart Ehrman rejects mythicism is because he believes that Paul spoke to James, who is Jesus' brother, and he believes that story. That's the only reason.
Well, that's what happened in the Bible.
And the Bible is fiction.
Well,
yes.
no.
Very good.
No.
I'm glad you didn't even have to phone a friend for that answer.
No, wait a second. I'm going to tell you, Sidney, not all the Bible is fiction. I'm going to say the Bible is historical fiction. Okay?
Yeah, but not all fiction is fiction.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say there is some historical. I want you
to respond to what Bill said.
Not you cannot take that hard position.
Not all of fiction is fiction. Did you hear that?
But I agree with you. Genesis is fiction. The Exodus is fiction. Well, actually, the Exodus is most likely. the Exodus is most likely hyperbole.
Everything's fiction, dude. Everything's fiction.
No. The Exodus is mostly exaggeration or hyperbole. And I would say that when you get to the New Testament,
it's all fiction.
Well, I'm arguing actually as a mythicist. I'm arguing as like a reverse position. I'm arguing that Jesus on Bart Ehrman's side. I'm trying to evaluate these two positions, right?
Well,
because if you look at myth,
let Bill talk as well, okay?
No, I understand.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you impute mythicism to have truth value?
Mythicism to have truth value?
Yeah.
No.
So what's the stand on your stand on it being a mythicism? This is another way of saying it's bullshit.
Well, do you think Zeus existed?
I've been wondering about Paul Bunyan.
Okay.
Yes.
Was there a guy? Was there a guy named Paul Bunyan?
I don't
No,
think
I
so.
don't think so.
I don't think
But
so.
do you think Zeus existed, Bill?
No, I don't believe in gods.
Well, okay, but let me tell you. So, how did this myth of Zeus begin?
Somebody believed in gods.
Right.
Trying to explain the things. Just trying to model their reality some way that they could be
Yeah.
effective for them, so they could navigate their way through the universe.
Right. Right. So, is it so hard to believe that Jesus could also be the same kind of archetype?
No,
Or, huh?
not hard at all.
So, you're saying that Jesus might have been a real person?
There might have been a real person. Paul Bunyan might have been a real person.
You know what?
Well, George Washington. Okay, he was a real person. But did he throw a silver dollar across the Potomac?
Wait. But is the evidence for Jesus greater than the evidence for Paul Bunyan?
Why would I possibly spend any time trying to fucking suss that out?
No, I'm asking you.
Why?
Jesus has a New Testament. Paul Bunyan has nothing.
Don't you put Paul Bunyan down?
Paul Bunyan has a story.
He was a hot property for a while there.
What about his blue bull? Who came up with the blue bull?
I don't even know the Paul Bunyan story. Is that the golden blue bull?
No, it's a blue bull.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know where he got that from.
Who's got the blue? We got to get the guy out here in Arizona called Dale Earnhardt, who sells cars.
Yeah.
And he's got this big bull, and at the end of his sales pitch, he goes, "That ain't no bull." You never seen that? They didn't rip that off.
Yeah.
Big old bull, big hanging thing in the middle of the parking lot, a bunch of new cars, and he's got his big cowboy hat on.
Well, that's what car salesmen do.
Well, that's what they do. That's what everyone will sell the Jesus story.
That's exactly what Donald Trump does as well.
Yes, indeedy.
Yeah.
If you need someone to walk across the water in order to sell your agenda, tell everybody he walked across the water.
Yeah. Well, but Donald Trump is like the ultimate salesman with no integrity whatsoever. No human integrity.
I wouldn't use the word ultimate.
I would classify Donald Trump as a capitalist pig. That's what I would say.
What's a pig got to do with it? Tell me what you mean. Tell me what you mean by pig.
What I mean by capitalist pig is mean that the pig hogs up everything.
Yeah.
A pig will eat everything in its sight.
Don't you have to own equipment and stuff to be a capitalist? Because he's not even a capitalist. He's just money. He's just a creature of money. You know.
What do you call that? What do you call that kind of thing?
I would say old money, except for it's just his father's the one who made it big.
Right.
He made all the money, and that was from over in Germany, wasn't it? He came from Germany.
Yeah, something like that.
So was he a product of fascism? Is he linked? I don't know the history of the family, so I wouldn't want to cast out aspersions against Donald Trump, lest he be misunderstood for the otherwise glorious person he is. But it sounds like he's a product of, like George Carlin said, Germany lost the war, but they won the peace, or something.
Yeah, well,
fascism.
I don't know, because Donald Trump's real name is actually Donald Drumpf. Do you know that?
Yes.
Drumpf is like a Dutch or German name. Drumpf, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Donald Drumpf. So I'm not surprised if actually his dad was reaped the benefits of the fascist Nazis in Germany. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, there was that thread to the Bush family, you know. The elder Bush, the grandfather Bush, was in cahoots with Hitler's with Hitler in World War II. Well, they censored him in the Senate or something.
Yeah, because you know that Henry Ford really benefited from Hitler's wars, right?
Which is surprising because Henry Ford was a Zionist, wasn't he?
You know, no. Well, you know that the industry always benefits from war, even in today, right?
Yes.
The industrial military complex, right?
That was the sin that Cal committed in East of Eden.
Right. Well, Henry Ford established the industrial military complex. He started the assembly lines to produce all these vehicles, right?
Yes, indeedy.
He produced the Volkswagen for the Germans.
We
He
did.
produced a whole bunch of other cars for the Germans.
That car's always bugged me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to wake up Sidney there. He's not listening.
So I'm just saying
just
that,
letting
that
you say your thing. Only one person
because
at a
because
time
we
can
have to
talk.
know the history of these things. We have to know that where tyranny comes from, right?
Got
Do
to
you
know it.
think?
Got to know it when we see it. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Do you know that Do you think that Hitler was tyrannical?
Yes.
He was tyrannical.
From the depictions I've seen in movies and television,
But you know that Hitler was elected by a democratic state.
Putin gets elected by a democratic process, doesn't he?
No, that's communism. That's in Russia.
Yeah, well,
That's not democracy.
when they vote, it's not democracy. When the people
No,
vote,
no. Putin doesn't have a 8 year or 4 year tenure. He can actually reign forever if he wants to, or
well,
he can appoint his sons or his progeny to reign Russia.
communism is a economic system, but the electing is democratic. That's like the Nazis were the democratic socialists, which was a misnomer in itself. But
That's right.
there's always
That's right.
the facade of elections that establishes these people's power in the governmental systems.
That's right. So Hitler was actually elected democratically by the people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then, as soon as he gained power, that's when he turned. That's when he became tyrannical.
He blossomed in the name
He
of
became
the
fascist.
true way. Oh, yes.
He became fascist. The reason why he became fascist is because he had people in his military and his advisors that were actually religiously based. He had commanders and assistants that actually believed in the book of Revelations from the Bible, right?
Well, isn't fascism when the government selects a few businesses to invest all the wealth and support all the power behind a tyrannical figurehead? Isn't that fascism?
Yes,
Okay.
that is fascism.
So you have to become head of the government. You have to be become the government's figurehead in order to do your deals, the art of your deals with all the businesses that you need to do.
That's right, exactly.
Okay, so I'm agree with you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, but you have to recognize that Hitler had a religious component to his ideology.
Well, yeah. Well, that
You
is
cannot
yes. I've
you
always
cannot
held.
deny you cannot deny that.
Wouldn't deny it ever since listening to Christopher Hitchens debating people, and they're trying to tell him that the Nazis were atheists, and he set them straight. He says they were supported by the Roman Catholics, and
Yeah.
Hitler had his own religion. He states that there's some quotes I've seen where Hitler's talking about the religious basis of what he does. I think he said Catholic. I think he said Catholic in one of his writings. But
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, but if you can't recognize a Hitler now, based on what we've learned through history, you got a little hope for a populace that goes down that road again.
But my ultimate point is that these people that were advising Hitler, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the Führer, he was the ruler. The people that were advising him got their inspiration from the book of Revelation in the Bible.
I wouldn't know if it's that specific.
Look at Elaine Pagels. Okay, do you know Elaine Pagels?
No, does that require reading?
Well, yeah. Okay, fine. You don't read, Bill?
I'll Google it on YouTube. See if there's a YouTube on it.
Look at Elaine Pagels. She actually compares all the apocryphal text going back to 2,000 years, all the wars, and she compares it to what is said in the book of Revelations, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In the book of Revelations, you can apply anything that's said in the book of Revelations. You can apply to any war that's coming in the future, or any war that's in the past. It's written so generically because look at what happened with Bush. in when he invaded Iraq or whatever, or when he bombed Iraq, right?
Okay, yeah.
George Jr.
The
George
George,
Jr.
yeah, W.
George W. He bombed Iraq, and what was his main slogan when he invaded Iraq or when he bombed Iraq? What was his main slogan?
Where's the beef?
No, he said "shock and awe."
Shock and awe, they called it.
Shock
Yeah.
and awe. That's the direct quote from Revelations.
He had a stupider thing, a meme, with something about waking up with bombs blowing up or something. What was it? We wake up to I forget it now. There's been so much since then that all those old memes are being pushed out of the way. So
yeah, so all these leaders, all these tyrannical leaders in the past, they actually sometimes they use the Book of Revelation to justify their tyranny, right?
you say George Bush was a tyrant?
Well, George Bush was in between. Okay, he was in between. He was. I mean, I admire that man because of his tenacity, and because he did actually give in to his advisors, right? His
Cheney?
advisors. Cheney's very religious. You know that, right?
Dick Cheney is? I didn't know that.
Dick Cheney's very religious. And all his advisors were very religious. They went to this book of Revelation, and they told George W. Bush. They said, "Listen, if you wanna maintain peace on Earth, you have to do these kind of things. Sometimes you have to do what's called shock and awe. You have to shock them, and you have to present them with an awful power or might that you are in control of things, right?"
If you want to reduce the escalation, sometimes you have to surge.
Yeah. And do you think that he was justified in referencing a book like the Book of Revelation?
I don't like it when stuff like that happens. I think it would be better to motivate people through a different vector of persuasion.
Yes, I agree.
I don't like to hear any of that religious stuff forming the basis of doing anything.
That's right.
Okay.
Would you prefer diplomacy over religion?
Yes.
Okay. So why do we need religion at all?
We don't.
We don't. Exactly.
We don't. There's nothing that we do for each other that if we were not religious, we would not continue to do.
Exactly.
And there are all sorts of horrible things that we do in the name of religion that we would not do if we were kowtowing to dogma.
Hey, you just did a Christopher Hitchens quote right there.
He's my guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know Christopher Hitchens, he was pretty good, man. He was pretty good.
Yeah, even when he was sober, he was good.
I gotta tell you, yeah, he was pretty good. Well, even when he was drunk, he was good.
Well, when it comes to talking and stuff, usually that helps a little bit.
Yeah, but when it comes to his views on getting rid of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, he got a lot of flack for that but if you actually look at that, look at the tyranny that Saddam Hussein was causing in Iraq.
Yeah, okay. He was horrible.
Look at this guy.
I think the main objection was it was botched so badly.
He was part of the Ba'ath organization. You know what the Ba'ath organization is? Baath. Yeah, totally Islamic. Totally Islamic.
Yeah.
Islamic to the core, right? The only thing that was preventing the Ba'ath organization or Sharia to become a code in Iraq was Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I used to be of the opinion that if these Muslims want to fight these Muslims, let them go at it, stay out, let them wipe each other out, as far as I'm concerned. But I've kind of mellowed out on that because people feel pain, people suffer, and it's horror. The horror is outweighed. The horror of warfare is outweighed by any kind of ideological thing that surfaces as victorious. Because no matter what happens, pretty much, which government wins something, people generally survive. So,
do you think Saddam Hussein should have been taken out
surgically? Should have been bought out. Should have bought him out first. should have
Okay.
taken him down. He should be living in Mar-a-Lago. Trump should never had a chance. Never had a chance to get that property. It should have been taken.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're gonna give Saddam Hussein that kind of power, huh?
No, just shut him away there.
Well,
And then who would you rather see running Iraq when you get rid of Saddam Hussein? Who would you rather see running that place?
well, I would say probably. I mean, the people were calling for some kind of democracy, right?
I don't even remember.
They
don't
were
know what they
well.
wanted.
I mean,
Who knows what they want?
this is the weird thing with Iraq, because Iraq is a Islamic, is partly Islamic, but they also want people that want some kind of form of democracy, right? They
Yes,
want people to have power of their own country, right?
yes.
So you have this dichotomy going on between the Sharia of Islam, and you have democracy, right?
Yeah.
Because that is a dichotomy. You have to agree. Because Sharia does not like gay people. They don't. They don't want. They don't like women in general. Sharia likes women to be subservient to men.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ancient theocracies as
Yeah.
opposed to Western Enlightenment
Yeah.
type of democracy and technology and
Right.
progress.
That's right.
But
They're
they'll
not
use
treated
it.
as. There's no egalitarianism when it comes to Sharia, right?
Well, that's why I was so glad I lived in America. But it's I didn't think we were going to have to be dealing with these problems that we're dealing with now. I
Well,
thought we were putting this behind us over the
let me,
decades, and
yeah.
here it is biting us in the ass again.
Let me give you an example of what Sharia is, because I've kind of studied Sharia for a little bit. But you know that if a man wants to divorce a woman in Sharia, all he has to say is the word divorce 3 times, and he's
I
divorced.
break with thee, I break with thee, I break with thee.
That's it, and he's divorced.
That's how they did
But
it.
when a woman wants to divorce a man, she has to go through the court system. They have to find out why she wants to get divorced from the husband. Is the husband supporting her?
Yeah.
You know, why is she unhappy with the husband? You know,
we don't want to encourage. We don't want to encourage that kind of behavior in women.
Right.
Not me. No.
Well, we don't. We want to have women to have their freedom, right? Don't we want
I don't believe marriage. I don't believe in it.
Well, if a woman wants her freedom, shouldn't she be able to say, "I divorced this man 3 times," and then the divorce? That's equal rights, isn't it?
Yeah, as far as marriage is a negotiation, but like I say, as an institution, it's just a vestige of religion, and I guess it's necessary for the transfer of property through inheritance, but I can't really see much more of a use for it. Except for the money.
No. The use is that it's a patriarchal system, Bill.
Yeah,
it's a system that's based on manpower, or the power of the ultimate God, man.
Well, he's patriarchal.
It's patriarchal, right?
Yeah, so you have matriarchal, you have patriarchal, and if you melded those two together, what would you call it? A true just
union.
system?
You will call it a union, which is religion. But they want to separate the patriarch from the matriarch.
Yeah, but I'm looking for a word just because I like to be clever.
But what does the word religion mean?
Give me a word. Give me a word for the combination of matriarchal and patriarchal.
What does the word religion mean?
Hermaphriarchal? Okay.
No.
The word religion is something you do every day.
No, the word religion means religare in Latin, which means union.
Oh, you're muted, Sid.
Huh?
Okay. Well, okay. So it means what now? Religion means what?
Union.
Okay. Well.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
I don't think of reunion when I'm thinking about a religion. I'm thinking about a belief system that people adhere to and practice every day.
No, I didn't say reunion. I said union.
Union. Yes, I don't think of the word union when I think of religion. So that may be the roots of the word in some other language, but when I think of religion, I think of a way of life that people practice ritualistically every day.
No, religion means union, which means that the man and the woman unionize, becomes together, and they become one like God. God is an hermaphrodite or androgynous, right? And then
Well,
when the man and woman become androgynous or a union, they can actually become one with God.
so they go out and get themselves a religion license and have a religion ceremony, and then they're one. Is that what you mean?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, you see that might come across as homophobic, right? It's not. It's actually, it doesn't matter. It becomes a union between two persons in love,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
When they
sure.
express their love, they become a union with their love, and they will express their love to God,
Let's
right?
deconstruct this union. What do you
Express
mean?
their love to God.
Yes, let's deconstruct this union. Well, that's what they mean by the marriage. I don't think Iron Chair here believes that. Are you a
Um,
theist?
Christian, Sidney, I want to tell you that this is a Gnostic principle. This is
I'm
not
just
coming
trying to
from.
understand what that means, though. That's all.
This is not
It's
coming from me. This is not what I
I
believe.
I, I
Okay.
understand that. I understand that.
you got a
Uh,
Gnostic on wood. That's what you got.
this
No.
is a Gnost. This is a not. This is a Gnostic principle. This is what the Greeks came up with in Macedonia, in Greece, and they spread this knowledge, and they actually gained knowledge from India when they traveled to India, and they got the knowledge from the Indians, and they came back with that knowledge, and they developed their religion when it comes to the raising of the spirit, or the raising of
Where
the
did the Indians get their knowledge from?
which Indians? The
The
or you
same
mean
ones that you're
the
talking about.
or you mean the Hindus?
The ones you're talking about, dude. What the
Well, the
fuck?
Hindus went back to 5,000 years
I
ago.
don't know which. You never mentioned which Indians. You just said they went and got their knowledge from the Indians. I said to
Well,
you,
I
where did
think
the Indians get their knowledge? And he says, which Indians?
The Iron Chair here is really rolling along now here. Are you? Did you just present a history of the marriage, of the development of marriage? Is that what you were just saying? The Institute of
well,
Marriage. Is that what you were?
no. I think that, yeah. Well,
They
marriage
went
is a
here.
is a is a, is a construct.
It started with Gnostic. Didn't it get married before Gnosticism?
Did they get married before Gnosticism?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When it comes to the male and female construct, there was probably some kind of form of union, right? Because ultimately, when they came up with these religious ideas, they had to establish some kind of union, male and female principles, right?
Well, the union is what it is what you do. That's why I don't understand what you mean. By this union being having to become up, having to have been come up with. You've got the union is people they go to sleep and wake up, and there they both are, and they go through their day together, and they feed each other, and they make little babies, and they feed the babies, and when one's hurt, the other one takes care of it, and here you have a union. So you don't need to be married to have a marriage declaration to do that. You just live. The union is just descriptive of the behavior that you engage in day to day.
Yes, I understand. I agree with you.
Okay. All
So
right.
that's why I'm saying that marriage is a religious construct.
They're abducting it as they do so many things. They've abducted morality. Oh, you can't be moral.
Exactly.
You can't have morality unless you believe in
They
God.
they have
It's
they have
abduction.
they have hijacked. I would use the word hijacked. Okay,
Yeah, that's a good one.
they have hijacked so many human principles, right? That
Yeah,
we that we as humans regard as dare I use
innate.
the word? Well, I would use sacrosanct. Okay, let me use the sacrosanct, which means innate,
Sacrosanct.
kind of, right.
Yeah.
It cannot be changed.
Sacrament means you don't take a shit on it.
Well, it means that it's innate. It's that it can't be changed. It's an axiom, right?
Well, that not that it can't be changed, it's just that it naturally occurs. It's evoked naturally, or
Right.
without much effort.
Exactly. So what religions did, they took these axioms, right,
Sure.
and they changed them, and they made these stories about these axioms. They invented these stories, right?
And they're similar to other stories. That's what I'm saying. The Christian myths and stuff are all heavily derivative of previous myths, and they abducted, they hijack it too. It's like they hijack Christmas Day.
That's
They
true.
hijack
Yeah, they
Christmas.
did hijack Christmas Day.
Yeah.
They hijacked Easter.
Yeah.
They hijacked Thanksgiving. They hijack all these freaking holidays.
They hijacked our money. They put God We Trust on the dollar bills.
You know what? The only thing
40s.
the only thing they didn't hijack is people's birthday.
People's
You know, because
birthday.
when people celebrate their birthday, they don't thank Jesus for being born. Well, some Christians do, maybe. But most people don't. Most secular people, they don't say that thank Jesus that I was born. They just thank. Who do you thank when you go to a birthday party, Sidney? Right?
Yeah. A birthday
And
party.
somebody say,
Yeah.
yeah, and somebody says, "Who do you thank for being born?" What do you say?
What a stupid fucking question.
Well, the correct answer is I thank my mother and my father to be born. I don't thank Jesus.
No, fuck
Yeah.
that.
But
That holds up. That holds up.
most Christians would say they thank Jesus for being born.
That holds up pretty well, except in the cases of rape, and the mother is forced to bear the child. But I guess you still got to thank the rapist, because without his participation, you wouldn't be here, and that's the whole point of taking people's choice out of the picture, because it's always somebody to thank. Every cloud has every cloud has a silver lining, including a violent rape.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that if we allow Christianity to continue, or religions in general to continue, they would actually hijack birthdays, our birthdays, and say the reason that we were born was because of Jesus or Allah or Vishnu or Shiva or whatever. They would say that eventually, but we have to put a stop to that.
You'll have a religion. You'll have a religion where the priest assigns you your birthday. So, because you don't know what day you're born, so by the time you're of age, that's when the priest they choose your wife for you, and they will assign you your birthday.
Yeah,
That's when you know the religion's really working. Because what is religion but an agenda to establish an ultimate authority in order to control the thinking, values, and behavior of the membership?
Yeah.
And that's once you got that ultimate authority, people do what you tell them. That's what it's all about.
Well, what do you think that's called? That is called totalitarianism.
Yeah, well, once again, Christopher Hitchens, the celestial dictator.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. And this is what Islam wants to do as well. They want to have what's called a theocracy, or a totalitarianistic system.
Yeah.
Where everything is controlled by their fictitious God.
Because they have the hubris to declare that they know who the ultimate authority of the universe is, and what he wants done.
And that is fucking so delusional.
There's no other word for it.
It boggles my mind.
It's no other word.
My mind.
But it's very organic. It's come up. We're coming up from the mud and making it up as we go along, and it's kind of a natural thing to do that. But that's why my name Bill Pazdu. It's long since been time to get that shit off our back and get current with things.
Yeah, Pazdu. Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's what it has to ultimately come down to. It has to come down to an era of enlightenment where people can actually see what is going on in society, how these divisions are occurring in society, right?
Yeah, but what fueled the original enlightenment, the first enlightenment? You say we need an age of enlightenment. We had one. What fueled that enlightenment era?
Well, what fueled that enlightenment was the
proliferation of the enlightenment.
Yeah, the lack of religion.
No, the printing press.
No, it was
communication.
It was Martin Luther and the Protestants.
I disagree.
If you want to go
proliferation,
that far back,
the centralized individuals rediscovered the classic Greeks stuff. And you had Francis Bacon and all those type of people organizing scientific inquiry, but it was communicated broadly. People were able to
I
glom
understand.
onto it through the
I
printing press, just
I
like
agree with you.
just like the religion was also made much more pernicious and and
Yeah,
blossom out because of the same damn thing, the printing
I
press.
agree with you. I
Okay.
agree with you.
Well, now we have
For,
internet.
for
We have internet,
yeah,
instant communications, and either vector of where we're going to go, enlightenment or further superstition and delusion, is
right.
we're at a turning point.
Right. So what were these guys printing on the printing press? You know, when Gutenberg came along, right?
Originally, the Bible.
They were printing the Bible. They were also printing Martin Luther's 95 Theses that he nailed to the wall of the Notre Dame Cathedral, right?
Yes,
They
but
were
there's
printing
probably
that as well.
there were probably other things though. They were
Yeah.
probably
So that
printing scientific developments and things.
yeah. So when the Catholic Church says that adultery or divorce is you have to be killed, the penalty for that is death, right?
Yeah.
Martin Luther came along and said, you know what, the Catholic Pope, the priest, I don't think that you should kill people just because they want to get a divorce or because they commit adultery, right? This is what Martin Luther said, right?
It's a negotiation.
Right. So then he put these theses on. He nailed it to the Notre Dame Cathedral, and then Henry VIII went, "Oh shit! I have an ally. I have an ally. I don't. You know, I can
Okay.
really rebel against the Catholic Church because I want to get divorced from my wife, Catherine the Second. I want to marry. I want to marry my third wife,
Yeah.
Constantia, the third, and I need a law to do that. Otherwise, if I commit adultery with Constantia, whatever her name was, I don't recall her name.
Was that in that HBO series, The Tudors?
Yeah,
That sounds
I
a
need to
good
be.
show. Great show.
Well, according to the Pope, the Catholic religion, I'm going to get killed, right? Adultery, you're going to get killed. So what Henry VIII did, he said this. He said that in order for me to allow to get married, I'm going to have to accept this Martin Luther guy's doctrine. I really like his doctrine because he allows people to get divorced and to commit adultery. And then the Catholic Church went, holy fuck, what is going on here? Martin Luther, we got to rebel against you. And this is exactly how the Catholic and the Protestants came into war with each other, and then they moved to United States. Well, there's a lot of history that went there. There was the fucking people from the north and the French that came involved, the Albigenses and all these people that came that was involved in that milieu of religious Catholic religious indoctrination. And then all of a sudden, these people, these settlers, they came to America. They found a new land. So when you look at the first people that came to America, it was Christopher Columbus. Where was Christopher Columbus from?
Spain or Portugal?
For Spain. It was from
Italy
Spain.
or Greece?
I was trying to name the city and I couldn't think of it.
It was from Spain, right?
Sweden.
Yeah, Columbus is a Moorish
And
name.
who was in rule in Spain? Was Queen Isabella.
Isabella.
Right? Yeah. And Isabella said, set a sail 1,000 ships and to discover a new land, right?
You got the money, man. Where'd she get the coin?
I thought he had to go to Portugal. He had to go to Queen of Portugal to do it.
No, this is where the saying comes from. If I look at a beautiful girl, this beautiful girl is so beautiful that I will sail 1,000 ships for her. Right?
Yeah.
This is where that saying came from.
I'm Googling it.
Columbus. I've never heard that saying.
You never heard that saying?
He sailed from Portugal, though.
No.
Christopher Columbus in Portugal, shipwrecked. What was the thing about Portugal?
Well, Portugal is next to Spain, right?
Yeah, but it's a different kingdom, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Portugal had their Vasco da Gamas that went around the fucking coast of South Africa and then went to India to get the spices, right?
I think Columbus
In
may have been
Portugal, right?
Portuguese. Yeah.
But so Christopher Columbus said, okay, if Vasco da Gama can do that, maybe I can discover a new land. So then Christopher Columbus took a bet and he went across the
Men and the
Atlantic.
egos, huh?
Huh?
Men and
Yeah.
the egos.
And they
Queen
discovered North
Isabella.
America, right?
Queen Isabella was of Portugal. Columbus was sent across the ocean by Portugal, not by Spain.
Okay.
Aha! You're a liar! A liar!
Okay.
But yeah.
That's fine. But Portugal is close to Spain. It's right next to it.
Yeah, so proximity is similarity.
They're probably very close cousins too.
Yeah. We also had Vasco da Gama that came from Portugal.
Yeah.
And he was a discoverer of multiple lands. So Christopher Columbus went from Portugal to America to discover new lands because of the orders of Queen Isabella, right? And then he discovered these new lands, right? He settled there. He spread all these diseases from Europe, his chicken pox or whatever diseases they had, and killed most of the natives. And then you had these Puritans and the settlers that came from Europe. So now that Christopher Columbus had established a route to America, right? He sent these letters back to Europe saying that, hey, we discovered a new land, the virgin land. So we had these Puritans, these religious sects coming from Europe to America, the Mormons, the Puritans, all these things coming from Europe to America and settling there and wanting to promote their religions in the new land. So what they did was, the Puritans especially, because their name says it all. It says purity, right? Because they had because they had the purity of Christ, right? Christ is pure. So when they find the savages of the Americas, right? What did they think the Indians were? They were savages. They needed to be purified, right? They needed to find Jesus Christ.
It's what religions do.
Exactly.
Stoke that membership. Oh, didn't you know you're going to burn in hell for eternity? Oh, you weren't aware of that? Oh, you were so blithely unaware. Well, let me tell you. Here's how it is.
Not only that, they spread their European diseases to the Native Americans because they were not immune to those new diseases that these Europeans brought over. Right. And that killed a lot of the natives, right?
Yeah.
And then the other natives were killed by fucking war and pestilence and all that shit.
Hundreds of years later, the United States Army had smallpox in the blankets they gave the Native Americans. So, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's trying to clear some land from its pesky vegetation.
Yeah. So I have nothing against European people. I have nothing against any fucking kind of race, any kind of fucking people, whatever.
I don't see why not.
I'm just speaking in general. I'm just speaking in historical terms.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
From what my subjective historical information that I have gathered over time, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you have corroborating circumstances where one person corroborates this and another person corroborates that, you can match the two together and say, what really is the truth? You know what I mean?
You have to look at the entire history of the human race with a jaundiced eye.
Yeah.
Yes,
you have to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to corroborate things. You can't just accept first inspiration. You have to investigate it.
Yeah. You also have to pick your battles. Now, the reason I don't read a lot is because I've been afflicted over the years with a neurological problem, and I kind of have a narcolepsy thing happening, and I can't read for very long because I'll doze off.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
I've got the same thing too, actually.
yeah, it's probably from the American diet. It's probably natural for people. I don't know. I was, as the years go along, you start to doze off during important
Look at
stuff.
this look at this guy in live chat. Lucky Seven.
Lucky Seven's there. I gotta go check him out. Hold a
Said
second.
Mormonism is an American religion,
It
not
is
European.
exactly. It is American
It
religion.
is. Sure
I,
is.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it should be the national religion of the United States. It's made.
Really?
It's made in America. It's made in the USA.
It's made in America, not in China.
That's right. There's no
Yeah.
there's no reason why it shouldn't be recognized as the state religion.
American Christianity.
Yeah. I think the
Right.
golden plate should be our constitution.
I was surrounded by Mormons in my high school years. Some of my best friends are Mormons.
I think we should prop up the golden plates in the Capitol building in Washington, and we should actually surround the golden plates with lights that make them look all shiny, and that's going to be a Mormon country. So Utah, which is actually a Mormon state right now, will spread all over the U.S.
It's Mormon in America.
Yeah.
And it's evening in
There
Japan.
it is. It's the winter of our disconsolate.
I love the Mormon underwear, especially during winter. I love it.
Okay, come on, give me my.
You know that the Mormon underwear?
What's that?
Yeah, the Mormon underwear. They actually made a proclamation that you have to wear underwear made by a Mormon priest or whatever to prevent you from having sex at night with your wife.
They ripped that off of the Hasidic honeymoon cloth.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
So-
Hasidic.
so
the
what
Jewish
is this?
Hasidics.
What is this Mormon underwear made of that you can't rip it off?
It's made of cotton.
Okay.
It's made of cotton from the black people.
Yeah. Well, how is that? Is nasty.
Sure.
Yeah.
is.
That's nasty.
The Hasids don't want when you're married, you haven't consummated the marriage yet. Your bodies cannot touch.
Yeah.
So they have a cloth with a little thing cut out.
Yeah, that's right.
Bullshit.
And
That's
they do that.
That's bullshit. That's nonsense.
And then they hand that down through the generation.
Yes, that's right.
And here the mother gives the wedding dress to the daughter.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
right.
Hasidics do it a little different. They hand
Yeah.
that down.
And now they have a company called what's called Under Armour. Have you heard of this company?
No,
No,
it
what's
makes
that?
sense. Find a
make-
need and fill it.
They make briefs. They make vests. They make all kinds of underwear, right? And I'm sure they are based in Utah. The company is called Under Armour.
Hmm.
You know what? As the Under Armour, the armor is to prevent you from getting perverted by evil spirits, and to prevent you from masturbating and having fornication relationships.
When I look this way, it's because I'm reading Lucky Seven's chat.
Yeah.
I like My Tushy products that Sarah Silverman advertises.
Sarah Silverman, Mike Tushy.
And My Tushy, she has a podcast. It's 45 minutes every
Really?
week. Yeah, might as well check it out. She's got some good little stuff in there. But one of her sponsors is My Tushy and products. And it's pretty good stuff.
Lucky Seven Wolfman said it's got nothing to do with
Having
nothing
sex.
to do with not having sex.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
Well,
what
no. Actually, I kind of agree with him there. Well, it doesn't have nothing to do with sex, but it has
What?
something to do with perversion of sex.
What, the Hasidic cloth?
No. The Under Armour, the
Oh.
Mormon Under Armour. You cannot expose the rest of your body to your partner. You only have to expose your genitals where you can procreate and make a baby, right?
Are
So
you
that's the
sure
only
about
thing
that?
you have to expose.
I think it can happen from sitting on the same toilet seat.
Well, yeah. So I mean, so kind of has to do something with sex, but the sex has to be done the right way. The sex has to be done in the missionary position, right?
Ah.
Where no human flesh, no other human flesh comes in contact with you. Only your genitals come. Only your genitals come in contact with the other person, right? So
I don't believe you.
no. So your semen goes. So your semen goes into the vagina instead of all over her boobies.
Oh my God! No pearl necklaces allowed.
Right?
Those Mormons have thought of everything.
Those Mormons, man, they're crazy.
But they run a good business. You ever seen
Yes,
that
that
Mormon
they
temple
do.
out there in Mesa?
Oh, I saw Mitt Romney. He's a
Magnificent.
very good congressman. But he actually went against Trump.
I thought Mitt Romney was a senator.
Mitt Romney is
He
actually a freaking conservative Republican,
Is a
and
senator.
he actually voted against Trump in all of their the what do they call those, the impeachments?
Not when it mattered. No, and he didn't vote.
No,
against,
he voted twice against Trump. Trump in both
Yeah.
of the impeachments.
Yeah, knew it didn't matter. He probably had some presidential hopes alive. The guy,
And Mitt,
he was governor, and then he was in the Senate.
Yeah, Mitt Romney was governor of Utah, right?
No, he's governor of Massachusetts.
Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney.
Yes.
That's when he came up with Obamacare. He did Obamacare for Massachusetts.
I don't know.
It's called Romney Care. Then
who's the governor of Utah?
He's a senator from Utah now.
Okay, so he's the senator of Utah.
Them
Okay,
Romneys
fine.
get around. They all came up from Mexico in the first place.
Yeah,
They get around. Okay.
right.
I know me some Romneys. That's all.
They definitely get around. I tell you that. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She gets around.
Gosh, that's the type of thing. It's unexplainable to me.
Look at Boobert.
How people and Ghost Star. We got Ghost Star here from Arizona.
Oh my God.
Guy is obviously imbalanced and afflicted.
His whole family is against him.
Yeah. They only want the best for him.
Jeez, what is wrong with that guy?
Yeah,
What's wrong?
I think that's organic. It's some sort of chemistry, brain chemistry imbalance.
That is really weird. Okay, this guy's whole family, Sidney. Do you know
Take
the
it from
story
a
of Ghost Star?
narcoleptic. Take it from a narcoleptic. It's probably an imbalance.
This guy's Republican family is denouncing him. They are all Republicans, right? In Republican states, and they are denouncing a congressman in Congress, who is a Republican. All of his siblings are denouncing him. How embarrassing is that?
Not enough for him to get voted out. It's unbelievable.
Obviously, yeah.
Wow. I think Congress made a good decision when they fucking what is it called? Censured? They censured him?
Yeah, did they strip him of his committee?
Well, no, they censured him.
Yes.
I don't know what a censure is, but
damn right, yeah. It's a rap on the knuckles.
A rap on the
there
knuckles.
for the rest of history.
That's right.
All the textbooks will now have that. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering now. I was just wondering, are we supposed to fear Jesus? You're supposed to fear thy God, fear God, and but does it say fear Jesus? Do they ever push that?
Yeah, you're supposed to fear Jesus.
Okay, you're supposed to fear his second coming, but I thought he was all the lovey. He was like all the lovey-dovey, gooey, sentimental. I'm supposed to love Jesus.
Well, Jesus is all about lovey-dovey, sentimental gooiness as much as Darth Dawkins is.
It's called a yin-yang, right?
Well, I was thinking good cop, bad cop. You've got the good cop is God, or the bad cop is God, because he's the one who does the condemning and the judgment, and the good cop is Jesus.
Well, the thing is, though, with religion is that they want to present this idea that there will always has to be some kind of balance, right, going on. The Chinese had that, the Buddhists had that. There have to be some kind of balance
Yes, that's called
in,
juggling.
in nature, right? Yeah.
You know,
So
juggling.
this is what Christianity tried to do, but they fucked it up.
Well, they're still
They
working
really
on it.
fucked it up.
They're wiggling around as best they can. It's called weasel
because what?
workmanship.
No, what they said is
listen,
that.
what do you expect them? You know, they've only had fucking 2,000 years. What do you expect?
No, because what they said is that
these
you have
poor
to give your whole,
Christians.
you have to give your whole soul to Jesus, your mind, your body, your soul to Jesus. There's no balance
Yeah,
there.
but there's no way to do that. That means nothing. What does it mean?
No,
to give your
Jesus is
mind?
all good. There's no evil in Jesus, so there's no negative in Jesus. So as soon as they read the Bible, they discover, holy fuck, Jesus actually fucking flooded the world. He cut the stomachs off. He cut the stomachs off of women, and he took the babies out of their stomachs.
Ugh.
What the fuck is going on here,
But see,
man?
they don't say Jesus did that. They say God did that. And that's what I'm saying.
Wait. So that, but their
Jesus is
defense is
God.
no. But their defense is that it's a yin and yang. They're saying that this is the balance. Well, obviously, the God has to maintain the balance in society. So it doesn't matter what it did in the Old Testament, right? The Old Testament is the yin, and the New Testament is the yang, right?
Okay.
So this is what they're trying to maintain, right?
So,
The Arab, the Arab Testament has probably the same thing as the Christians or the Jews. Same thing. Well, actually, maybe not the Jews, but the Christians. The Arabs also say that they deny all the evil things that the God did, right? They only recognize the good things that the God did, right? So there's a dichotomy going on in their Quran as well.
but it's a triune God. It's a triune God. It can't be a dichotomy because you got the Holy Spirit. So
No,
I'm
that's
still wondering,
Christian.
how do you balance them? Yes.
No,
okay.
in Islam, it's one God, right?
As well, really?
It's one God.
Okay.
Yeah, in Islam, it's a singular God. It's called Allah, right?
Right, but Jesus is a prophet, but he's demoted in the role he plays. What is the role of Jesus as a prophet in Islam?
That's a good
Oh, man.
question.
That's
Come on.
another topic.
Who can answer that one?
I can answer that. The role of Jesus in Islam is merely a prophet, just like Muhammad.
But what's he prophesying? I mean, what's the role that he plays? What
Right.
is the prophecy that he's responsible for?
He prophesied. When Jesus prophesied something, he said that basically said that he affirmed whatever God wanted in past religions. So when you go back in history, like say for example, you go back to Aristotle or Socrates or Isaiah or Ezekiel or all these other prophets in history, Jesus came to affirm, and he was
Socrates
just
is a
another
prophet?
prophet before Muhammad was the final prophet.
How is Socrates a prophet?
Well, I mean, he provided wisdom, and well, maybe not Socrates, but I'm saying the prophets of the Bible, maybe Isaiah or Ezekiel,
Aesop.
and Esau and all those other prophets,
Yeah.
right?
And what did they?
Moses.
What did they prophesy?
And Moses.
What did they prophesy that I can
Jeremiah,
relate to? What did they?
And Joshua.
What did
all
they?
These prophets, right?
What did they prophesy that I can relate to today?
Well, they prophesied conquering.
Yeah, so I can prophesy conquering too. They will be conquering in the future. Okay.
Yeah, they prophesied
Sidney
conquering
Winston, December
right?
6th, 2021. Yeah.
So this is the general idea, Bill. What I'm saying is that all these this is what Islam is saying when it comes to Jesus. Islam is saying that Jesus was just another prophet. He brought the truth.
Who are the other prophets? Who are the other prophets for in Islam besides Jesus?
Well, Moses, Isaiah, Ezekiel, all the Old Testament prophets are the same prophets in Islam. Even Adam.
How's Moses a prophet?
Even Adam is a prophet.
How's Adam a prophet?
They call him Adam. It's a fucking.
I didn't say that he didn't have a name. I said, how's he a prophet?
Because Islam accepts him as a prophet. It's the beginning of the earth.
Oh yeah. All right.
I'm putting on my 5-minute countdown timer.
Yeah, me too. Because I can't. I just can't anymore. I can't even.
No, it was lovely going through all that with your Iron Charioteer. Iron Charioteer. I would give you a B- for the clarity and consistency, which is that's a good grade considering
Not
what you were
bad.
covering,
Not
the
bad.
breadth and diversity of what you were addressing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but listen, do you guys think I'm defending Islam right now?
no,
No, we just think that you don't listen to what we say.
So why are you getting so
no, I don't.
defensive?
I'm
Why are
not
you
being
getting so defensive?
I'm getting defensive because I don't want to make you think that I am being defensive. But I just say it's a lot. What you went through was a lot of speaking, a lot of presentation, and it was all fine and dandy. It's nothing I haven't ever heard before, basically. But
Yeah, but you
it
asked
was
me
all
a
good.
question.
Yeah, it was a review. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm just saying I get fatigued. That's all. I get fatigued.
Yeah.
I could listen to a Tangelo just go on and on and on, but then I hit a wall,
Tangelo,
and I just have to rest. And
all
then I come
people.
back and I say, "Give me more, Tangelo. Give
Talking
me
about
more."
Otangelo, has anyone heard
But
from
but
Otangelo
I
lately? Because I haven't.
yeah, but I told you what Muslims believe.
Yeah, well, yeah. That would require more than just what you presented. I don't have much of an overview of what Muslims believe.
So what do you think Muslims believe?
Why do you care what Muslims believe?
Yeah.
We are here to debunk the Catholic Church, to debase and humiliate the Catholic Church. Who cares about the Muslims?
Well, if you debunk the Muslims, you also debunk the Catholic Church.
I'm just saying that I don't need
It's
to
the
do.
same thing.
I don't need to do this in one sitting.
It's
That's
an
all.
Abrahamic religion. You debunk all three religions at once.
Well, you just got to start off with Moses, debunk Moses, and you've debunked everything else that follows.
I don't think you guys get it, man.
No, we're not
all
as-
these three religions are
not as-
Abrahamic religions. If you can find a contradiction between these three religions, you debunk all three of them. They're gone forever.
The contradiction is Moses.
No, they're not. They're not gone forever until people stop living them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So what religion do you want to debunk, Bill?
Debunk?
Yeah.
I just want to come up with wordplay.
I don't think you can debunk a religion. I just think you can debunk the existence of God.
I just want people to get along with each other.
Because the religion is the religion. You can't debunk it. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. It's a tradition.
Okay. What scripture do you want to debunk, Sidney?
They're all debunked. None of the scriptures are. All the scriptures are fictional. So what are you talking about debunk?
I don't want to debunk any scripture I already don't believe in.
Yeah, it just makes no sense.
No, I know, but when you're arguing with a theist, right?
I'm not doing that right now, am I?
No, you.
Okay, I'm not arguing with the theist.
All right,
Maybe I will later, but not in this sitting.
I'm
just saying I'm running out.
I'd like
but
you.
When you find yourself in that situation,
I'd like you to debunk the Gospel of Judas.
Yeah.
The Gospel of Judas. Is this when Judas?
So you don't know? You don't know the Gospel of Judas?
No. But the Gospel of Judas is not a canonical text. It's a Nag Hammadi text. It's a Gnostic text.
Exactly, which means that it's got way more. It carries way more weight.
Well, actually, no.
Yeah,
I would
say
the gospel,
yes.
No, I would say the Gospel of Thomas probably carries more weight because it has the sayings of Jesus in it in red letter. So the Gospel of Judas is great. There's a lot of sayings in there, but if you look at the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary, it's much more insightful than the Gospel of Judas.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at the Nag Hammadi library. Look at all the text.
I'll be right on
it. In the Nag Hammadi. I can bring up the Gospel of Judas because
you really don't have to.
Well, to refresh my memory because I'm not familiar.
Well, I'm gonna.
I remember I did go over the Gospel of Judas in the past, but I can't because I was more focused on the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary because obviously Thomas is a doubter and Mary is the mother of God. So why wouldn't I go over those Gospels more than fucking Judas, which is the betrayer of Jesus? When the Gospel of Jesus when the Gospel of Judas says that he wasn't actually a betrayer. He was actually a helper of Jesus. He was actually helping Jesus to fulfill his prophecy.
Is that right? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. This is what the Gospel of Judas is saying. Right? So I mean, why would the Gospel of Judas be
Well, they're all
important?
they're all just fiction, so it doesn't matter which
No,
one.
I understand.
Even the Gospel of Judas or the Gospel of John or the Gospel of whoever, it's all fiction.
Well,
whether
let
it
me
made
read-
it into the canon or didn't, it's still fiction.
Yeah, let me read you something here. It says that the Gospel of Judas is a non-canonical Gnostic gospel. The content consists of conversations between Jesus and Judas Iscariot. Given that it includes late 2nd century theology, it is widely thought to have been composed in the 2nd century by Gnostic Christians, rather than the historic Judas himself. The only copy of it known to exist is Coptic language text that has been carbon dated to 280 AD, plus or minus 60 years. It has been suggested that the text derives from an earlier manuscript in the Greek language. The Greek language! What the fuck, man? Come on! An English translation was first published in early 2000. Okay, but you know where these guys born? Do you know the Acts and Luke? Do you know where they got their doctrine from? I'm gonna give you guys a fucking bombshell right now. Are you ready?
Try us. All right.
Is Bill still there?
He left 20 minutes
Huh?
ago. He left
Okay.
30 minutes ago.
Sydney, I'm gonna give you a fucking bombshell right now.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Do you
Wait.
know,
let me make sure I'm sitting down. All right.
Yeah, sit down.
No, thank you.
Okay. Do you know the book of Acts and the book of Luke?
No.
Okay, fine. Some of the text in the Acts and Luke was actually copied from the Greek text called the Odyssey, and also the Greek text was called Euripides Bacchae. Euripides Bacchae, right? This is the book in the Odyssey and the Iliad, composed by Homer, right? And you can actually see the copies from these books, the Euripides Bacchae, verbatim, word by word, in fucking Acts and Luke. Verbatim, man. And this is a fucking, if you don't realize this shit right now, this is another fucking weapon against Christianity.
I thought you were going to hit me with something. I thought you were going to. I made sure.
I'm giving you a fucking
I made sure
weapon.
I was sitting down for this.
I am giving you a weapon to fucking stab Christians through the heart right now.
Oh yeah, gimme.
And I just told you. Do you what did I just say to you?
I have no idea. What did you just say?
Oh, fuck off, man.
First, tell me you're going to give me a weapon to stab Christians through the heart, and then I'll pay attention.
You weren't even fucking listening. Fuck you, man. You're useless.
I was listening, just that my headphones were off, and I could hear that you were speaking because I had to go and open the door or close the door.
What I'm saying, what I was saying was that if you look at the books of Acts and Luke in the Bible, right?
Yeah, but I haven't read those.
Well, it doesn't matter if you fucking read it or not, Sidney. Just listen. Let me finish my fucking sentence. Jesus. If you read these books,
I don't.
You will find parallelism, right? You will find copies or verbatim text in the book of Homer from the Iliad and the Odyssey,
yes,
called Euripides Bacchae. Euripides is EURIPEDS, Euripides / Bacchae, BACCHI, Bacchae. Euripides Bacchae. You will find, if you look at this guy on Myth Vision, which is called, what's his name? Not Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald?
What was I saying wrong? No, Donald. Fuck. Let me go to Myth Vision. What's his name?
I don't know, man. What's his name?
Myth Vision. Let me go to Myth Vision. Hold on. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna give you this fucking
So
shit,
this
Sidney.
is the
You
mind
don't know
trap.
the shit that's going on, and you're getting in fights with all these fucking Christians, and you don't even know the facts.
I don't give a shit about the facts. I don't care about Christians and their Christianity. I tell
Man,
you that
you
all
gotta
I gotta
fucking get.
do is tell them that their God is imaginary, their Jesus is a myth, and to catch up, Buttercup. This is 2021.
Yeah, but they are putting on the armor of.
Join the party, buddy.
Yeah, but they are putting on the armor
I
of
don't give a
God,
shit
and you're
about the.
putting on no armor.
What do you care?
Your armor. You have no armor of atheism.
Yeah, so what? What do you care?
All you have is fucking oxygen. What the fuck is
So
that good
can you
for?
I don't know. Can you do better?
Yeah, I can do better.
Well, why don't you
I
then?
can fucking show you right now.
All
what's
you're
better.
doing is hot air. Nothing else.
I just told you what's better. And you fucking